Jerome Powell recently offered advice to whoever succeeds him as Federal Reserve Chair. The advice was simple, it was direct, and it revealed everything about what he endured during the Trump administration. His message: don't blink. Today we're breaking down what Powell said, why it matters, and the larger battle over Federal Reserve independence that could reshape American economic policy for decades. Let's get into it. Here's what we know. In recent interviews and public appearances, Powell has been unusually candid about the pressure he faced from President Trump. And when asked what guidance he'd give to his eventual successor, his answer was telling: maintain independence, ignore political pressure, make decisions based on economic data, not White House demands. This might sound obvious. The Federal Reserve is supposed to be independent, that's the whole point. But Powell lived through something his predecessors hadn't experienced in modern history: a sitting president publicly attacking the Fed chair by name repeatedly across years. So when Powell says don't blink, he's speaking from experience. What makes this remarkable isn't the advice itself. It's that Powell felt the need to say it at all. Let's rewind. Donald Trump nominated Jerome Powell as Fed chair in November 2017. Powell was confirmed and took office in February 2018. At the time, this seemed like a conventional choice. Powell was a Republican, a former investment banker, and had served on the Fed's Board of Governors since 2012. He wasn't controversial. That changed quickly. By 2018, the Fed was raising interest rates. This is standard monetary policy when the economy heats up. You raise rates to prevent inflation. Powell was following the same playbook his predecessors had used for decades. Trump disagreed. He wanted low rates. Low rates mean cheaper borrowing, which can boost stock markets and make economic numbers look good in the short term. Trump made his position clear publicly. Here's a timeline of what followed. July 2018. Trump breaks precedent by criticizing Fed rate hikes in a TV interview. Presidents traditionally avoid commenting on Fed policy. August 2018. Trump escalates, saying he's not thrilled with Powell's rate increases. December 2018. Reports emerge that Trump privately discussed firing Powell. The White House later says he never seriously considered it. 2019, the attacks intensify. Trump tweets that Powell and the Fed don't have a clue. He calls Powell an enemy in the same breath as China's President Xi. August 2019, Trump tweets, "My only question is, who is our bigger enemy, Jay Powell or Chairman Xi?" Let that sink in. The President of the United States publicly compared his own Fed chair to a foreign adversary. Throughout this period, Powell did something notable: nothing. He didn't respond to the tweets. He didn't engage with the political attacks. He continued making policy decisions based on economic data. He didn't blink. This might seem like political drama, but the stakes are genuinely significant. Here's why Fed independence matters. The Federal Reserve controls interest rates and money supply. These tools are powerful. Used correctly, they stabilize the economy. Used for political purposes, they can cause serious damage. Imagine a president who wants to juice the economy before an election. Lower rates, print money, make everything look great for November. The problem? This often leads to inflation, asset bubbles, and painful corrections after the election. This isn't theoretical. It's happened in other countries. Argentina, Turkey, and Venezuela have all suffered when political leaders controlled central bank policy for short-term gain. The United States has avoided this largely because the Fed operates independently. The president appoints the chair, but can't dictate policy or fire them for disagreeing. Trump tested these boundaries more than any president in modern history. And this is what makes Powell's advice meaningful. He's not just offering career tips. He's warning that the pressure is real, it's intense, and the only way to preserve the institution is to resist it. So where are we now? Powell's term as Fed chair runs until May 2026. If Trump wins the 2024 election, he would have the opportunity to replace Powell or reappoint him. Based on their history, reappointment seems unlikely. Trump has already indicated he would not keep Powell. In interviews, he's suggested he'd appoint someone more aligned with his views on interest rates. This raises the question Powell's advice was addressing: what happens when a new chair faces the same pressure? Here's what we're watching. Potential candidates. Several names have been floated for Fed chair in a potential second Trump term. The key question is whether any would maintain independence or align with White House preferences. Legal boundaries. Can a president actually fire a Fed chair? Legally, it's murky. The Federal Reserve Act allows removal for cause, but this has never been tested in court. Powell himself has said he would not resign if asked. Market implications. Financial markets value Fed independence. If investors believe the Fed is making politically motivated decisions, it undermines confidence in the dollar and U.S. economic stability. This isn't about partisan politics, it's about institutional integrity. A Fed that answers to the White House, any White House, is a weaker Fed. Let me be clear, this section is analysis, not reporting. Here's how I read Powell's comments. First, he's legacy building. Powell wants to be remembered as the chair who defended Fed independence during unprecedented pressure. His advice to successors reinforces that narrative. Second, he's issuing a warning. Powell knows another Trump term likely means another battle over Fed autonomy. By speaking publicly now, he's signaling two potential successors and two markets that resistance is possible and necessary. Third, he's being unusually direct. Fed chairs typically speak in careful, hedged language. Powell's don't blink message is blunt by central banker standards. That itself tells you something about what he experienced. Now, reasonable people can disagree on monetary policy. Some economists argue the Fed raised rates too aggressively. Others think they were too slow. That's a legitimate debate. But the debate should happen among economists and policymakers, not through presidential tweets attacking individual officials. That's the line Powell is drawing. Here's the bottom line. Jerome Powell spent years navigating something no modern Fed chair had faced: sustained public personal attacks from the president who appointed him. He didn't resign, he didn't capitulate, he didn't engage, and now as his tenure winds down, he's offering a single piece of advice to whoever comes next: hold the line. Whether you agree with Powell's policy decisions or not, the principle he's defending matters. Central bank independence isn't about one party or one president. It's about maintaining institutions that function regardless of who holds power. That's the story here. Not drama, not conflict. Just a quiet warning about something important. That's it for today. If you found this useful, subscribe for more analysis that respects your time. I don't pad videos for watch time. If it's a 15-minute story, it's a 15-minute video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Fed independence is genuinely at risk? Is Powell right to speak out now? See you in the next one.